name's Deb, and I've just had my second surgery to remove endometriosis from my body. And this is the story of what got me to this point. A few years ago, I started feeling this pain in my pelvis, and I went to the doctor a few different times, and I was treated for UTIs. I was treated for bacterial vaginosis, for yeast infections, and the pain didn't go away. So I decided to go off of my birth control. I was taking the pill and see what my body would do without those chemicals in my body. As soon as my birth control worked itself out of my system, I started having really severe pain in my abdomen, and a bunch of other symptoms that made me feel like I was really sick. So I went back to the doctor, who, this was my GP, and she had me do an ultrasound and they found a small cyst on my body. So she sent me to an OBGYN. When I went to the OBGYN, she told me that I should hop on birth control. I called every gynecologist in town and I found someone who was able to see me in a month's time. I was in a lot of pain and I was kind of freaking out. So my doctor told me I should go to the emergency room if I had any issues waiting that long. I went to the emergency room and they told me that I should go see my OBGYN. They did take some tests and basically made sure that I wasn't dying, which was comforting, but they weren't able to tell me the source of my pain either. I finally got in to see my OBGYN. She told me that I should get back on my birth control. I was pretty taken aback that she didn't seem to be curious about what was causing my pain. I knew that a small cyst shouldn't be causing me this much terrible pain, so I told her no. And so she told me that we would just do another ultrasound in a few months and see if the cyst had gone away. At my next appointment, they found a cyst the size of a softball growing inside of me, and they told me to come back in another 6 weeks and we would see if it went away. So I waited another 6 weeks in pain with this cyst bouncing around inside of me. With these waiting periods between my appointments, my gynecologist told me that I should go to the emergency room if I really felt like things were getting worse. So I did go to the emergency room at one point and they took some tests to make sure I wasn't dying. And then they told me to reach out to my OBGYN. I reached out to her and she told me to reach out to the emergency room. So eventually I just kind of gave up on finding help in the moment because I realized it wasn't coming. In between all these appointments, I did a lot of research on TikTok, on Reddit, on YouTube, everywhere I could find online to try to figure out what was wrong with me. And I landed on endometriosis as a potential cause. So at my next appointment with my gynecologist, I told her that I thought I had endometriosis. And she told me that I should go on birth control to treat it. And I'd asked her, I said, well, if there's stuff growing inside of me, will the birth control like make it go away or do we need to cut it out? She didn't have much of an answer. That was a very fast appointment, but I knew in my heart that I needed to be operated on. I needed to know what was happening inside me. So I pushed really hard for a surgery. My request for a surgery was denied. Um, so I decided to get creative, and I had remembered that at our first appointment, the doctor had told me that she was pro sterilizing women if they wanted to be child free. And I knew at this point that I didn't want to have children, so I asked her to sterilize me and to look for endometriosis while she was in there. And that was the route that we took. Before the surgery, I asked her if she felt really confident treating endometriosis surgically, and she said she does it all the time, and that if it was a really severe case that she would bring in a specialist into the surgery to help remove it. So after the surgery, she told me she did find endometriosis, that she had found some on one of the ligaments holding up my uterus and a small spot on my abdominal wall. So she said she had burned it off and that I should be fine in 2 weeks, and that this would be the end of the road. And I was so happy. As the months passed, I realized that my symptoms were not going away and that things were getting worse. I tried to schedule follow up appointments with my surgeon, the gynecologist, and she had told me that no follow up was needed and that I was fine. I pushed harder and asked her if she could set me up with a hormone specialist and if I could just have a few minutes to talk with her. And she sent me to a nurse practitioner who suggested that maybe I should get on birth control, which I declined again. I asked the nurse practitioner if maybe I could get some hormone testing done to see if maybe there was a hormonal cause for my pain, because at that time I didn't realize how badly the endometriosis was growing inside me. After multiple times trying to contact my gynecologist, I realized she wasn't going to help me. So I continued my research and found a specialist in Post Falls, Dr. Adam Duke, who everyone had said within Reddit, within all of the places I'd searched, that he was the guy who could make it go away for good. So I scheduled an appointment with him and I brought my photos for my first surgery. And as soon as he saw the photos and I showed him my list of symptoms, he had said that I have very severe endometriosis and that the doctor who had done my surgery had missed the endo that was growing on my bladder, on my rectum, on my appendix, all throughout my pelvic walls, my cervix, my uterus. I mean, it was like an explosion of endo in there. So I underwent a surgery with him 6 weeks ago to have that removed, and all of my organs in that region, my bladder, rectum, my uterus, cervix, it was all kind of glued together into this lump. Luckily, my ovaries were impacted. He removed my uterus and my cervix and my appendix, and he removed my abdominal and pelvic wall throughout my entire body because it was so overgrown with endo. The first surgery was intense, but this second surgery really took the life out of me. I'm 6 weeks into my recovery and not feeling like I can handle going back to work or living a normal life yet. I This experience has changed me fundamentally as a person, and I've realized that I need to change the way that I'm living, the way that I'm thinking about life, because I've only got one shot at this and I only get one body. So I've been in the process of deeply researching all of the systems in the body, the gut, the hormone system, the nervous system. I've been working to build my own healthcare plan, my own diet, my own plan to quit smoking, exercise regimen with the help of my PT. Um, because I have lost a lot of faith in the medical system, and I'm really wary about taking advice from another doctor after my experience with my first surgeon. So I've made this page along with my TikTok to try to share my experience, not only because it's cathartic to me, but because I know there are millions, tens of millions of women out there who are going through what I was going through a year ago, and they're in pain and they're not getting answers and they're not getting help from their doctor. And so if I document my experience, it won't only help me, but maybe there'll be another woman out there seeking answers who will find this, and it will lead her towards a better solution. Thank you for listening. And if you want to follow along, I'll be documenting my progress with healing and with building my next phase of health.